Hello, St. Matthew. As we enter the fourth week in Lent, we're going to talk about humility. You know, G.K. Chesterton summed up humility best when he said, "Humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less." So humility is not focused on how bad you are or all your mistakes. Humility is really about self-awareness. St. Augustine said, "All humility consists in knowing yourself." So humility is a real honest assessment of who we are and where we stand in God's creation. So I guess the important question with humility is to understand, who are we? Because we are created in the image and likeness of God, a human being has high dignity and high stature. But sin ruptures this dignity and stature. And humility has an honest assessment of who we are in this dichotomy of high dignity or low dignity. Being about self-awareness, humility shows us that we put way too much emphasis on our human affairs. Things such as our bank account, our reputation, everything we've achieved in life. Humility tells us all this stuff doesn't really matter in God's order of creation. In the spiritual life, humility is really the starting point. It's almost like we're all in that insane asylum, and humility says the smartest person in the insane asylum is the person who knows they're insane. So once you are knowledgeable about where you are and where you stand in God's creation, God could then lift you up. So humility is, yes, a crucial starting point. St. Augustine said, "If you ask me what is the essential thing in the religion and discipline of Jesus Christ, I shall reply, first humility, second humility, and third humility." So once we know of our starting point is humility, then God can lift us up. As Jesus said, "Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted." So Jesus is showing he can lift us up in humility, because the other aspect of humility is it gives us total dependency on God. That everything we do, even our creation, comes not from ourselves, but totally from God. If I were to think about it, I know I didn't create myself. I didn't create the 3.4 billion letters of the genetic code written in the exact order to create life. I didn't create my nervous system, digestive system, or reproductive system, or all the other systems in the human body. I just showed up in creation, of which I had nothing to do. So once we understand this, we're gonna know that we have to give total dependency to God, and we have to decrease what we think we can do and understand that we are not God and God is God. The other aspect of humility is the word humility stems from that English word humiliation. Humiliation tells us if we do think we are God, then God will show us that we are not God. As St. John said, "He must increase, so I must decrease." Two images of humility will really help show this. You know, when my child was younger, she would often look into the pantry and want to grab certain things, but then she knew she couldn't grab them on her own. So she simply looked at me and raised her hands up. And when she raised her hands up, that meant, "Daddy, please lift me up so I can grab that thing that I want." Well, that's really what humility is with us. We are flawed sinners, and we cannot achieve greatness and perfection without God. So all we do in humility is just raise our hands and say, "God, you lift me up. I cannot get this thing, greatness, on my own, but only when you lift me up, only when I know that I can't get it on my own and raise my hands to you, can I reach it because of you." The final image of humility is that of a paintbrush. Picture that we are a paintbrush in the hands of God, the master artist. And God, the master artist, is painting a beautiful masterpiece known as creation. As long as we are a humble paintbrush and allow God to take us in all these different strokes of life here and there, we will participate with God in his grand masterpiece. And notice the paintbrush, when he's doing this, when he's allowing God to take him in all these different directions within this masterpiece, the paintbrush does not take credit for God's beautiful work. The paintbrush knows that he's just an instrument. He's just the paintbrush. He's not the artist. And all credit for the beauty of this work goes to God. But if we are a paintbrush and we do not allow God to use us and to try to do our own thing, to create our own image, to go in different brushstrokes, we will fail to be a part of God's masterpiece as He intended. And at this point, God would put aside a paintbrush that doesn't work with Him to grab a better, humble paintbrush. Only when we are humble can God work with us. And only when we are humble can we be a part of God's beautiful masterpiece. So this Lent, let us embrace the virtue of humility and understand humility, yes, is the starting point, but when we embrace humility, God can do great things and lift us up. So as we continue to journey into the great celebration of Easter, may God be with you, and may God bless you.